Hi! Welcome to Chili's. So today is Valentine's Day, and I decided that I want to do a makeup look to celebrate because I'm alone and I don't really have anything else to do, and I think it's going to be fun. So yeah, here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is take some toner, and I am going to use it to clean my brow area. Because the first thing I want to do is glue my eyebrows down. And it actually took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out how to glue my brows down, which is kind of strange because really the goal is just to put as much glue down on your eyebrows as possible, and that's not really a very difficult thing to figure out. And once the toner is dry, we're just going to take our glue stick and go to town. So the first layer of glue is down, and in the meantime, while I'm waiting for it to dry, I am going to do my base makeup. So that involves moisturizer, primer, and foundation. The first layer of glue is almost dry by now, but right now I am putting on a foundation color that is too light for me in order to look very pale and beautiful. I look like a ghost, but the first layer of glue is dry already, so I'm going to go ahead and add a second layer. And I'm not going to wait for the second layer to dry, but once it gets tacky, I am going to add a ton of powder over it to hide the fact that I have eyebrows at all. So I'm going to let that sit for a bit and then cover it with foundation, but in the meantime, while we're waiting, I actually have a drawing of what I planned for today, and it's really complex, and I am going to first draw the shapes on my face so that later I don't get confused about where I need to put everything. So I'm going to take a thin little brush, some brown eyeshadow, and I'm going to look at where I need to place these lines so that they make sense later on. This is really difficult. Hopefully this ends up looking better than it does right now. So that was actually way more intensive than I realized it would be, but I think we have the general shape down for, here's my drawing by the way. I kind of have all of the shaping down for that, and now what I'm going to do is contour these shapes so that, I create the illusion that it is my actual face. So I'm going to take a little brush and just pack it with red eyeshadow, and I'm going to use red to contour over all of the lines that we've already made. Actually, I just realized since we're already done with the cream, I'm actually going to set all of this with powder first, just so that it stops being wet and so that I can keep it as a base while drawing everything on top of it. So, powder time. Okay, back to contouring. One thing I do have to keep in mind while I'm doing this is that the edges of the contour are kind of like the edges of the shadow, and so they're going to have to be a lot darker, and that means that I need to have a smaller brush, this one, to sort of define like the edges of the shadow. I'm using a deeper red to really define the edge of that shape. With this bigger brush, I'm just using it to blend out that line so that it looks kind of like a shadow. The light's kind of in the way, but you can sort of see how this bottom part of the shadow is a lot stronger and more defined than the upper, more blended part. And that really is there to create the illusion that there is an edge here where there normally isn't. This just gets like worse and worse, and I don't really know what to do about it, but let's hope it turns out in the end, because I am too far in for this to be a failure. Okay, so I'm more or less done with the red shaping on my face, so I'm going to now take concealer and clean up the edges of the contour. And this will just help to really define those edges in a way that we were not able to do before. So I'm also going to take some concealer on the lips and blend it out into the red shadow. And the other thing I'm going to do is I have a lighter concealer as well that I'm going to use to sort of highlight the areas like this part of the nose that right now are kind of blending in with the red. So yeah, now I'm taking my highlight color, which is even whiter than the foundation shade I used. and I am using it to highlight really anything that I want to accentuate. So we're brightening up the nose, this part under the eyes, this weird cheek shape right under the nose, and the chin. I'm also going to do up here, right where the brows are going to be, and we're going to highlight right here as well. That's pretty good. We're going to add white later to all the like tippy top points of the face, so this step doesn't have to be too precise or anything. Before we do the whites though, I'm going to work on the darkest parts. So I'm just going to take black and basically do that right at the edge of the shadows with this tiny little brush. So you can kind of see right here, the edge of this nose is really, really dark now. And we're going to repeat that for the other places of contour. We're just using this black to really define the shadowiest parts of the face. And I'm going to blend it up into the dark red a little bit, just so it doesn't look too harsh. And now the line of this lip, by the way, ends kind of in the middle of the face. So I'm going to just take that black and drag it out a little bit into this dark red line that fades kind of into the foundation shade. I'm also going to take a little bit of dark red and add it on top of where the black is, again, just so that shadow is really defined but not too harsh. I'm almost done with defining all of these shadows in black, and you can actually see the difference from this side, right, to this side, where this side, it just doesn't look as strong as this side does. And all of these shadows on the face in the middle here are already like, they're like black. The highlights are jumping out at you because the shadows are so dark. So that's what we want when we are lining all of this with black. I hope the way that this video is edited makes this look like a simple and short process. It's actually, well, it's not difficult, but it's taking a very long time. It's like hitting the 2-hour mark right now, and I am not yet done. And we're going to start now on the eyes. The base for the eyes will be pretty much the same as the rest of the face. We're going to start outlining it in red and then tracing it with black. Just like before, I'm going to take my thin, long brush and I'm going to trace out approximately what our eye shape is going to look like. And I also want to have the eye go kind of into the nose here. So I'm going to connect the upper line of the eye to the nose contour that we had earlier. So that is the size of our eye today. It is very big and very impractical, which is fun. I think symmetry is one of the hardest things for me to achieve when I'm trying to do a makeup look, so I'm really hoping that this turns out as symmetrical as possible. I don't know. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm going to take an actual black liner. Basically just inside of this red line is going to be black eyeliner, so I'm going to do that. And the black line is not going to go up as high as the red line, so you can tell it's super rough, which is fine because we're going to clean it up. Now I have to do the other side. Okay. Now, as that eyeliner is still wet, I am going to mix a black and red shadow, and I am going to go over that liner. And what this does is it like smokes it out a little bit, and it also makes it a little bit bolder. It doesn't have all those little shakes that my hand had earlier. Like, see this compared to this? Yeah. Now add some red under that. I'm also going to bring the red eyeshadow really high up because I want it to look like this black line is like our real eye shape, and then the dark red is the eyeshadow we have on top of it. Great, and now I'm going to do that on the other side. I should mention that at this point I'm not really following what I originally planned, and I'm just making up lines as I go, which is fine. You know, I added this crease to my eye because I felt like it needed an eyelid, and it wasn't big enough already. I am blending that crease into our supposed eye. Okay, I think where I originally placed the eyebrows, which were right here, is not going to work, so I'm just going to go over that with a little bit more foundation. I'm just going to cover that right up. I'm actually also going to add one more line to the nose because it's kind of empty between my eyes right now. Ooh, that's fun. Now that looks like I have one big unibrow crease moment. I'm first going to fill in our eyes with eyeliner. I'm also going to stop at the inner corner right here of each eye, because this whole thing is not going to be black. The bottom is going to be white because it matches with the whites of our eyes. This entire part black, not the bottom part. Okay, now that that black eyeliner is done, I'm actually going to add a red inner corner that extends from here all the way down to the fake inner corner of our new eye, and this will help it look like it's actually part of our real eye. I don't actually know if this works, by the way, so we're trying it out. Our real inner corner is kind of pinkish red. I'm sort of mimicking that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is fill in the rest of the eyes with white, and that will help it look like the whites of our eyes. So I'm going to take my white liner and just fill this in to drive home that this is fully an eye and not just like white. We're also actually going to shade this white a little bit once it dries. So I'm going to do the other eye and wait till it dries and show you in a bit. Okay, so we're almost done here. I'm going to use the white liner for actually a couple of other things. First, I'm going to use it very lightly up here and up here. And I'm going to sort of make a cut crease with that. I hope this brush is clean. I'm going to take it and blend out this white liner so that it forms this sort of crease shape. Okay, so you see that gives us the illusion that we have a sort of crease up there. And actually what I'm going to do is take a little bit of eyeshadow on this brush and sort of define that crease shape. And I'm actually going to end it right here. So we make this sort of loop. At this point, I can confidently say that none of the shapes on my face are really making any sense. And that's okay. Okay, so actually going to take light colored eyeshadow and press it into here so that we get more of a definition of that crease. You see how that fades away that red a little bit. I'm going to do the same for the other eye. Right now the crease is a little bit too blended in. Awesome. Now I'm going to take the white liner and add it to the highest points of the face. So I'm going to add a dot on the nose, a line on the bridge, a little bit right above the fake cupid's bow that we have here, a little bit to the actual lip too, and a little bit right here on the inside of the cheek. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. Okay, I'm going to refine that and be right back. So we're almost done here. All I'm going to do now is add eyebrows, and that should be all of the drawing the makeup on. That should be all of that done. We are going to draw a curvy eyebrow. I'm going to start from the inside and just kind of do that. And I'm going to make these like little comma brows so that I look kind of sad. And just to really make them bold, we're going to do the same thing as we did with the eyeliner, which is to add some black shadow. Okay, so that is the general brow shape. I look really sad now, even if I just have a still face. And it's looking a little bit out of place. So I'm also going to add a little bit of red to the front end of the brow. And I'm also going to extend it upwards so I look very sad. Okay, and that is the brows done. Now I'm going to go put on eyelashes, one up here above where my actual lash line is, and I'm going to put lashes down here where the supposed lower lash line of this eye. So I'm going to put on those lashes and maybe the rest of the look, and I will be back. And here is the finished look. I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. So as you can see, I added a few small details. I added black around my lips so that it would look like I have one long continuous mouth here. And then I blended out the eyebrows a little bit, cleaned up some of the lines on my face, added a little bit of shading to my collarbones. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope that was interesting or entertaining or something. I don't know. So yeah, happy Valentine's Day and see you later.